If you take a daily pill for anxiety and still feel panic, or you take a fast-acting pill and the worry comes right back the next morning, you might be using the right tool for the wrong job. There's a specific reason why some medications take 6 weeks to work, while others work in 20 minutes, and mixing them up is the #1 reason treatment fails. Let's talk about the difference between daily prevention and as-needed relief. I am breaking down the questions everyone is asking so you can have better chats with your doctor. We need to start with the biology of why you feel this way. Your brain does not have just one anxiety button. It has two completely different systems for generating fear. One system is for constant, low-level background noise. This is the worry that keeps you up at night thinking about your finances or your health. The other system is a sudden, high-intensity alarm bell. This is the panic attack that hits you in the grocery store for no apparent reason. The problem is that most people treat these two systems as if they are the same thing. They want a pill that stops the background noise instantly, or they want a daily pill to stop a panic attack that is happening right now. But medically, those are two different chemical pathways. This is why pharmacists divide anxiety medications into two distinct categories. We have the daily prevention tools, which build a baseline of calm over weeks, and we have the as-needed relief tools, which are strictly for short-term symptom control. If you have searched for terms like natural anxiety relief or Zoloft versus Xanax, this breakdown is exactly what you have been looking for. We are going to clear up the confusion so you know exactly what to expect from your prescription. This is general info. Your doctor will tailor it for you, but understanding the mechanism is the first step to feeling in control. Let us look at the first category, the daily prevention medications. These are usually antidepressants, like SSRIs or SNRIs. You might know them by names like sertraline, which is Zoloft, or escitalopram, which is Lexapro. The biggest complaint I hear about these is that they do not work fast enough. You take the pill on day 1 and you feel nothing, or worse, you feel a little more anxious. This happens because these drugs are not designed to sedate you. They are designed to remodel the architecture of your brain's stress response. Think of your brain like a busy highway. Serotonin is the traffic controller that keeps everything moving smoothly. When you have chronic anxiety, the traffic controller is on a brake. Cars are crashing, horns are honking, and everything is chaotic. A daily medication like sertraline works by slowly bringing more traffic controllers back onto the road. But it takes time to hire them and train them. That is why you have a lag time of 4 to 6 weeks before you feel the full benefit. The second category is the as-needed relief. These are medications like Benzodiazepines, which includes alprazolam or Xanax, and lorazepam or Ativan. Or they might be beta blockers like propranolol. These work on a totally different system. Instead of hiring more traffic controllers, these drugs just close the highway. They force the brain to slow down immediately. This feels great in the moment because the panic stops. But the problem is that you cannot keep the highway closed forever. If you use these tools every single day, your brain starts to rely on them. And when you try to open the highway again, the traffic is worse than before. This is called rebound anxiety. Most guides get this balance wrong. They tell you to just take your meds and wait. But the safer way is actually simpler. You need a strategy that uses both categories correctly. You need to know when to build the foundation and when to use the fire extinguisher. This brings us to the concept of the biological mismatch. A lot of patients get frustrated because they are prescribed a daily medication for a problem that feels urgent. You go to the doctor because you are having panic attacks today. You leave with a prescription for fluoxetine or Prozac, which will not work for a month. That feels like a mistake, but it is actually a safety decision. The goal of modern anxiety treatment is to lower your baseline stress so that the panic attacks happen less often, rather than just knocking you out every time one happens. Let's look at the data on this. Studies show that while fast-acting meds provide immediate relief, they do not solve the underlying chemical imbalance. In fact, long-term use of benzodiazepines without a daily preventative medication can actually make anxiety harder to treat over time. This is why your doctor might be hesitant to give you a refill on the fast-acting stuff, but will happily increase your dose of the daily stuff. They are trying to fix the road, not just close it. I want to address a very specific viral trend I see on social media. People are talking about cortisol phase or dopamine detoxing as a way to cure anxiety. While lifestyle changes are huge, and we will get to those, we have to respect the chemistry. If your serotonin transporters are genetically efficient at clearing serotonin away too quickly, no amount of cold plunging is going to change that genetic reality. That is where the medication comes in. It is a tool to level the playing field. Now, before we get to the core framework that will help you manage this, I want to talk about the side effect that no one warned you about. It is called the activation syndrome. When you first start a daily medication like an SSRI, your brain might react by increasing your anxiety for the first week or two. This is normal. It is your brain adjusting to the new chemical signals. It does not mean the drug is not working. It usually means the drug is potent and your system is adapting. Knowing this in advance can save you from quitting a treatment that could have changed your life. This is why it is a key point to bring up with your pharmacist. If you know that week 2 might be rough, you can plan for it. You can clear your schedule, ask for support, and ride it out. All of this leads to your core tool, the Anxiety Architecture Blueprint. This blueprint is the mental model you need to manage your treatment. It has 4 quadrants: the foundation, the fire extinguisher, the maintenance, and the emergency exit. We are going to walk through each quadrant so you can see exactly where your medication fits and how to use it safely. Let's populate your framework. Quadrant 1 is the foundation. This is your daily medication. The goal here is consistency. You cannot take these pills only on the days you feel stressed. That is like trying to brush your teeth only on the days you have a cavity. It does not work. You have to take them every single day to build up that baseline. In this quadrant, we have the SSRIs and the SNRIs. We also have medications like buspirone. Buspirone is interesting because it is a daily medication specifically for anxiety that is not an antidepressant. It works on serotonin receptors but in a different way. It is often used for people who want to avoid the sexual side effects or weight gain that can sometimes happen with SSRIs. If you are in the foundation quadrant, your job is patience. You are playing the long game. You are looking for a subtle shift in how you react to stress. You might notice that things that used to make you explode now just make you annoyed. That is the medication working. Quadrant 2 is the fire extinguisher. This is your as-needed medication. The rule for this quadrant is specificity. You should have a specific reason for using it. I am feeling weird is not a specific reason. I am having a panic attack, and my heart rate is 120 is a specific reason. I have to give a speech in 20 minutes is a specific reason. In this quadrant, we have the benzodiazepines, but we also have safer options like hydroxyzine. Hydroxyzine is actually an antihistamine, similar to allergy meds, but it has a strong calming effect on the brain. It is non-addictive, which makes it a great option for people who need a fire extinguisher but do not want the risks of stronger sedatives. We also have beta blockers here. Propranolol blocks the physical effects of adrenaline. It stops the shaking and the racing heart, but it keeps your mind clear. This is a secret weapon for performance anxiety. Quadrant 3 is maintenance. This is where the work happens once the meds kick in. A lot of people think that once they feel better, they can stop taking the pills. This is the most dangerous time in treatment. When you feel better, that means the medication is working, not that you are cured. In the maintenance quadrant, your job is to monitor your lifestyle. Are you sleeping? Are you drinking alcohol? Alcohol is a major depressant and can cancel out the benefits of your anxiety medication. If you are taking a daily pill and drinking every night, you are essentially driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Maintenance also involves tracking your progress. I recommend keeping a simple log. Rate your anxiety from 1 to 10 every morning. Over 3 months, you should see that number trend down. If it stays flat, that is data you can take to your doctor to discuss a dosage adjustment. Quadrant 4 is the emergency exit. This is the safety protocol. You need to know when to stop and when to call for help. There is a rare but serious warning on all antidepressants regarding an increase in suicidal thoughts, especially in young adults, during the first few weeks of treatment. This is the black box warning. If you start a medication and you feel a sudden shift in your mood towards darkness or hopelessness, that is not a side effect you push through. That is a red flag. You call your doctor immediately. Another part of the emergency exit is knowing about serotonin syndrome. This happens when you have too much serotonin in your system. It can happen if you mix anxiety meds with certain pain meds, migraine meds, or even herbal supplements like St. John's wort. Symptoms include high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion. If you see this, you go to the ER. Now that we have the framework, let's look at how these quadrants interact in real life. You are starting sertraline, or Zoloft, for generalized anxiety. You are in Quadrant 1. You take your pill every morning. For the first week, you feel a little nauseous. That is normal. Your serotonin receptors in your gut are adjusting. By week 3, the nausea is gone, but you do not feel calm yet. You are still in the waiting period. Then, on week 4, you have a massive panic attack. You reach into Quadrant 2 and take a hydroxyzine. It calms you down enough to sleep. You do not stop the sertraline. You keep building the foundation. By week 8, you realize you have not used the hydroxyzine in 10 days. That is success. That is the framework in action. Let's look at another scenario. You are prescribed alprazolam or Xanax for panic attacks. You are in Quadrant 2, you take it 3 times a week. But then work gets stressful, and you start taking it every morning to prevent the panic. You have accidentally moved a fire extinguisher tool into the foundation quadrant. This is dangerous. Your brain will build a tolerance. You will need more of the drug to get the same effect. And when you try to stop, you will have withdrawal symptoms that feel exactly like a panic attack. This confirms your belief that you need the drug, creating a dependency loop. If you find yourself using a Quadrant 2 drug every day, that is a sign you need to go back to your doctor and strengthen your Quadrant 1 strategy. I want to talk about the concept of breakthrough anxiety. This is when you are on a steady dose of a daily medication and you still get anxious. This does not mean the medication has failed. It means you are human. The goal of medication is not to turn you into a robot who never feels fear. Fear is a necessary human emotion. It keeps us safe. The goal is to reduce the intensity and duration of the anxiety so that it does not ruin your day. If you have a stressful event and you feel anxious, that is appropriate. If you are sitting on your couch on a Sunday morning and you feel like you are being hunted by a tiger, that is the anxiety we want to treat. Let's expand on the foundation quadrant with some specific examples of the different classes of daily meds, because one size does not fit all. First, we have the SSRIs. These are the gold standard. Sertraline, fluoxetine, citalopram, escitalopram. They are generally safe and effective, but they can have side effects like sexual dysfunction or emotional blunting. Emotional blunting is when you feel like your emotions are muffled. You do not feel sad, but you do not feel happy either. If this happens, do not just quit. Talk to your doctor. They might switch you to an SNRI. SNRIs, like venlafaxine or Effexor and duloxetine or Cymbalta, work on serotonin and norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is related to adrenaline and energy. These drugs can be great if your anxiety comes with a lot of fatigue or physical pain, but they can also be harder to come off of. Venlafaxine, in particular, has a very short half-life, meaning it leaves your body quickly. If you miss a dose by a few hours, you might feel brain zaps, which feel like little electric shocks in your head. This is why consistency in Quadrant 1 is non-negotiable. Then we have the atypicals. I mentioned busbaroni earlier. It is a partial agonist at the serotonin receptor. It is much milder than an SSRI. It does not usually cause sexual side effects or weight gain, but it also takes a long time to work, sometimes even longer than SSRIs. It is often used as an add-on. So if you are taking an SSRI and it is helping but not quite enough, your doctor might add busbarone to increase the effect. Now let's go deeper into Quadrant 2, the fire extinguishers. Benzodiazepines are the most famous, but they are also the most controversial. They work by enhancing the effect of GABA, which is the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. GABA says, stop to the neurons. When you take a benzo, it amplifies that stop signal. The relief is profound and immediate, but the brain fights back. It reduces the number of GABA receptors to try to maintain balance. This is why tolerance develops. These drugs are incredibly useful for acute crises, like a severe panic attack that will not stop, or for sedation before a medical procedure. But they are not a long-term solution for generalized anxiety. Beta blockers are a fantastic alternative for the physical symptoms. If your anxiety manifests as a pounding heart, trembling hands, or a shaky voice, a beta blocker can stop that feedback loop. Often, we feel anxious, our heart starts racing, We notice our heart racing, and that makes us more anxious. Beta blockers cut that loop. They do not touch the thoughts in your head, but they calm the body, which often helps the mind follow suit. We also need to discuss the role of sleep in this framework. Sleep is the foundation of the foundation. If you are not sleeping, your brain cannot process emotion. Many anxiety medications can affect sleep. SSRIs can sometimes cause insomnia if you take them at night, or drowsiness if you take them in the morning. You have to experiment to find the right timing. If your anxiety is keeping you awake, your doctor might prescribe a medication specifically for sleep, or use a sedating antidepressant like mirtazapine or trazodone at bedtime. These help you stay in quadrant 3, maintenance. I want to address a common myth, the idea that medication changes your personality. This is a huge fear for many people. They worry they will stop being themselves. The truth is, untreated anxiety changes your personality more than medication does. Anxiety makes you irritable, withdrawn, and fearful. It stops you from doing the things you love. When the medication works correctly, it peels back those layers of fear and lets your actual personality shine through. You become more yourself, not less. However, if you feel like a zombie, or if you feel numb, that is a side effect. That is not the goal. That means the dose is too high, or it is the wrong medication. You have options. There are dozens of medications and combinations. Do not settle for feeling numb. Let's talk about the timeline for stopping medication. This is part of Quadrant 4, emergency exit, but in a planned way. If you have been on a daily medication for a year and you feel great, you might want to stop. You must do this slowly. We call it tapering. You reduce the dose gradually over weeks or months. This gives your brain time to adjust its chemistry back to baseline. If you stop cold turkey, you risk discontinuation syndrome, which includes dizziness, nausea, and a return of anxiety that is often worse than before. Tag someone who needs to understand the difference between a panic attack and chronic worry. This information could save them months of frustration. We also need to touch on the natural options and where they fit in the framework. Things like magnesium, ashwagandha, or L-theanine. These can be helpful, but they are usually Quadrant 2 tools, mild helpers. They are rarely strong enough to be Quadrant 1 foundations for severe anxiety. And you must check for interactions. St. John's wort, for example, interacts with almost everything, including birth control pills and blood thinners. Always run your supplements by your pharmacist. Let's review the golden rule of this entire series. You never start, stop, or change a medication without a conversation with your healthcare provider. Your brain chemistry is delicate. We want to adjust it with a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. This series is designed to be your manual. We have covered the broad strokes here. We have built the anxiety architecture blueprint. You now understand the difference between the slow-building foundation and the fast-acting fire extinguisher. You know that feeling worse in the first 2 weeks is a known hurdle, not a failure. You know that relying on benzos daily is a trap, and that maintenance requires lifestyle work. This is part 1. Next time, we cover the specific differences between Zoloft and Lexapro, the 2 most common foundation meds. We will look at why a doctor chooses one over the other, and what the side effect profiles look like side by side. If you have searched Zoloft versus Lexapro, you are going to want to watch that next video. Use this as your discussion guide. Your healthcare team has the final say for your personal health. Remember, the goal is not just to survive the day. It is to build a life where anxiety does not make the decisions for you. If your doctor mentioned a common daily medication, your process starts with understanding the first month. Watch episode 1 next to see exactly what happens week by week. I am Pharmacist Online. Stay safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one.